What is going on, everybody, and welcome to a very, very special episode of The Shift. We are here, coming to you from the Cooperstown, New York. Baseball, I don't care. Screw St. Louis. Baseball heaven. That's what we're talking about. I don't care. Respect to all Cardinals. But look, I'm repping Scott Rolen right now, okay? I love Rolen as a Phillies fan. The Cardinals were my second favorite team growing up. Shout out to Scotty Rolen, Hall of Famer. Shout out to Fred McGriff, Hall of Famer. We are in baseball heaven. I'm stating that now for all of you out there. So, Nick Earnshaw, this is quite the episode. This is our first time here, and we're gonna bring somebody in. Yeah. I mean, usually we might have him walk in, but he's here because he's the man. Yeah, you probably already know who he is.
Honestly, this is how our setup needed to go. I mean,
right, absolutely.
How we're constrained here.
Right, absolutely. We're coming to you live again from Cooperstown, New York. So, Nick, let's get this started. Let's bring our guy in here. This is our first special guest in a while. Let's do the introduction for him. We'll let him, he can speak his piece if we left anything out, but I'm going to try to not leave out as much as possible. I still call him a coworker. He's our coworker.
He's a coworker.
Shout out to Odyssey. Shout out to WIP. Shout out to KYW Newsradio, where I worked for almost 2 years. My life, big part of my my radio career so far in broadcasting, and so I met this guy through KYW, and we immediately hit it off, talking sports, talking baseball, and this guy he done honestly a lot of the same stuff I've done to a certain extent. He was he interned and he worked at BCB in Bucks County, and now he's a superstar anchor for one of the biggest news stations, radio news stations in the Northeast, KYW News Radio. I grew up.
This guy.
I grew up knowing that station as a kid, and this guy is a baseball expert. He's a baseball nerd. We're gonna get into a lot of arguments today, but it's all love and respect because we're buddies. So, Mr. Pete Innaurato. What's up? Let the applause happen first. Woo.
Boys, it's a pleasure to be here with you guys in Cooperstown.
Happy to have you, dude.
We're in this nice, small, hot room and in the middle of nowhere in Cooperstown, New York, talking baseball.
It was very chilly. It was
a little chilly last night. We've had a good time so far. We got here on Saturday, and we've spent the past couple of days here in Cooperstown, New York, on the lake.
On the lake.
We're going to go paddle boating in a little bit. But before that, we want to break down these Hall of Fame inductees. I appreciate that introduction.
Absolutely. Did I leave anything out? I'm sorry.
No, you didn't. KYW News Radio.
I thought you did a good job. He did okay. I wouldn't say a good job. Maybe an okay job.
You mentioned BCB. You hit all the big points. And
I tried.
It was a wonderful introduction.
I tried.
I'm happy to be here.
Don't give him too much credit.
No, look, Francisco has come a long way in his career, working with him at KYW News Radio, and now he's at WIP doing great things. And it's the trajectory is only going north. For Nick Earnshaw, I've met Nick. I've known Nick for a few months now, and he's a good kid. The trajectory is going up for him as well. So both of you boys are on the right path. Happy to be here on The Shift. The show's been phenomenal, and I'm excited to be here today to talk Hall of Fame baseball.
And we appreciate those kind words, man, for sure. We've done a lot of yelling, a lot of arguing this weekend, but it's all out. It's all out of love. That's what we do here at The Shift. We still, even after me and Nick Earnshaw argue, episode in, episode out. We never take an episode off. We rarely ever agree. No, we still love each other at the end of every episode. That's what happens.
There's like a rarity when we start agreeing on something. Like there might be something wrong if we agree on something.
Right. I mean, but there's a few times.
Minor things. I would say. I would say minor things we agree.
But I think so you guys. But do you want to get to the open here? Let's talk about the inductees.
Let's do that.
I think we could probably we'll all agree to start the show.
Yes.
Both of these guys are definitely deserving. Fred McGriff, more than deserving. He has waited very long. He had his 10 years on the ballot. I believe he got through the Veterans Committee.
Correct.
So this guy has waited a long time. Would have hit 500 home runs. Let's be real. I mean, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but would have probably hit 500 home runs if it wasn't for the strike shortened season. He had 34 home runs that year. He was going to. There was Matt Williams had potential to break Maris's record before McGuire and Sosa were able to do it 4 years later. So I mean, there's a lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda. But that year, he played 110, 115 games, whatever it was. I think it was with Atlanta, maybe, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe before he got to Atlanta, it doesn't matter.
It was Atlanta. Then he won. They won.
He didn't get traded in '95, and
no, he was with Atlanta.
97.
He was with Atlanta through '97.
Okay.
But he won the World Series with Atlanta. I mean, the guy
95.
The guy basically hit 500 homers. 493 is right there.
Yep.
But he went to Atlanta. Got them a title in '95. They had won all those consecutive division titles, and he finally slides in there, gets them over the hump. Phenomenal postseason player, well deserving, a lot of accolades.
Absolutely. I just want to say, how about super consistent?
Yeah.
Like the guy never hit 50 homers, I believe, but it was always 30 bombs, 100 RBIs. Right. OPS always. I think he has like a 134 OPS plus for his career, somewhere around that. Like that's an OPS above league average every single year, well above for his career.
3-time Silver Slugger, led the league in home runs in '89 and '92. This guy was just super consistent, power, and he played for a lot of teams. He did. He played for a lot of teams, but he was so consistent throughout his entirety of his career. And for him, and we saw him coming down the parade. How excited did he look? How excited did he look to finally get into the Hall of Fame after waiting so long, right? Like he waited so long, and he just looked ecstatic. We went to the parade. They had all the Hall of Famers come down Main Street, and just seeing Fred McGriff towards the end of the parade, he just looked so ecstatic to be there. And for a player who
seems like a great guy,
for a player who's great in the postseason, has all the accolades in the world, 5-time All-Star, World Series, Silver Sluggers. I mean, the guy deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know why it took this long, but it's about time.
Well, it's understandable why he's over the moon. There's a lot of players out there that wait way too long or are still waiting, that are deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. And unfortunately, it's down to the decision and opinion of a certain group of writers. And they go by their criteria.
There's a lot of writers, too.
And we'll get into this later on, how their criteria has changed over the years.
Yes.
But
It's flawed. It's flawed.
Everybody's criteria isn't perfect, and we'll get into that.
But Fred McGriff, to me, is a no doubt Hall of Famer.
I agree.
If you look at the span of his career, his 18-year career, hitting just under 500 homers and doing what he did in the postseason, accumulating nearly 2,500 hits.
He only needed 10 more, Pete. He only needed 10 more, and then only needed 7 home runs. How crazy is that?
Yeah, he's right there. So
might as well just put on the uniform real quick, couple of games, and knock all of them.
I'm sure you could go back in the video and find some scoring decisions that could be overturned for him as well. But, at the end of the day, the guy, should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. So he's getting his just due, and good for him. Scott Rolen, on the other hand, as well, one of the best defensive third basemen in the history of baseball, and especially while we were growing up, just using the eye test. Mm-hmm. Scott Rolen was over there with Pickett, came up with some big hits, was on championship ball clubs, just a hard-nosed ball player, just a great baseball player, and he's deserving to be in as well. So, both of the guys that got in this year, well deserved. I'm really excited though for next year, because we're really going to start to see some of those players that we grew up with really start to make their way through and push through that.
Right there, man. 3% away this year.
I think he gets in next year.
You think Helton does?
I think he'll get it.
Oh yeah.
But I will say this though, and we're going to get to this because we'll get to the 2024 ballot. We have to talk about it. You're going to get guys like Beltre on the ballot. You're going to get guys like a Joe Mauer or Chase Utley. They'll get some love. So ballots change year to year. Just because Helton had 72 doesn't mean he's going to get in next year. There are guys that have gotten close and they went backwards. So it depends on the ballot each year. But so I want to stick on with Scott Rolen too, because in Philadelphia, he wasn't he might have got a bit of a bad rap just because of the way things ended. He didn't really like playing at the Vet. He had problems with Larry Boa.
He didn't like it. He didn't like it in Philadelphia.
Yeah, he didn't like it. And that's fine. And you know what? Philly's not for everybody. Isn't
Well, the
he a
Phillies
bad
were
player?
going through a transitional time at that point.
They were.
True.
In 2002, when he was, finally let go, it's the Phillies were not in the prime position. I mean, a couple of years later, they started to, picked up Jim Thome and
Howard Utley. That's when they're starting to come through the minors.
They were really getting close to that wild card spot, and then they pushed over, won the division in 2007. So, I don't think he was as much of a troublemaker. I just don't think he was happy here, and he let it be known. So, hey, all power to him. He went to St. Louis and he won a title.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with him like I have with a J.D. Drew type of player.
Of course not.
But,
I mean,
Scott Rolen did a lot of great things in Philadelphia. Just the time ran out.
Yeah.
So.
His time was up. His time was up in Philadelphia. Now, you guys saw more of him than I did in Philadelphia.
Yeah, a little bit.
I saw him more as a St. Louis Cardinal, more of a Red. But I mean, there was a contingency of Philly fans that have come out to Cooperstown to support Scott Rolen.
Yeah, I saw some Phillies Rolen jerseys, and I love that because he was a good player there. He was a good player. He was the face of the Phils for a couple of years there, man. With him and Schilling left in 2000, 2001, I think, whatever it was, before he went to Arizona. But it was him and Schilling, and after Schilling left, it was just him and maybe Mike Lieberthal.
They were bad teams. They were bad teams.
Robert Person was your ace.
He was the best.
Joey Table was your. I like Joey Table. Jose Mason was a good closer. But yeah, Scott Rolen was a good player here. I mean, consistently. I mean, I think after he left, he hit like 30 homers. Was hitting 290, 391 on base, like all that good stuff. And defensively, we know how good he was.
Right.
Then he goes to St. Louis, and he's a perfect fit for that team, man. He was. It was him. It was Jim Edmonds. It was Pujols, Eckstein, Edgar Renteria, Juan Encarnacion. Eventually, when they won a title. He was perfect for that team. He was. And he benefited, and even this is for his Hall of Fame case. He benefited from hitting behind Pujols. But players, that's what happens with players.
Were some good Cardinals teams.
Very
Jim
good.
Edmonds,
Really good. Chris Carpenter when he was great.
Hall of Famers.
Yeah, Chris Carpenter, Mark Mulder.
Right.
Jeff Suppan was in there. They had Jason Isringhausen as our closer. Yep. So, I mean, Cardinals Rolen was perfect for those teams. That's what happens, though. That's just how baseball goes. So, Rolen left St. Louis. I think he went to Toronto. After that, was Toronto and Cincinnati or Cincinnati and Toronto?
08 and 09, he went to Toronto. And then he finished his career in Cincinnati from 09 to 2012.
Right. So, I mean, he wasn't really the same after. It looked like he dealt with a lot of injuries towards the end of his career, just like a lot of other players still.
Right.
Just jumping teams late in his career. Understandable.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, guys, I don't know about you. I mean, I think his offensive production, 300 home runs plus, 500 plus doubles, that's an accolade people a lot of times look at. His OPS for his career was above league average, and obviously the defensive thing was a big thing. His 8 Gold Gloves, and if you're somebody that looks at the metrics, his metrics more than back that up. So he has 140 total zone runs above average for his career. So Scott Rolen's more than deserving. And there's people out there that may disagree. A lot of it I feel like is emotional Phillies fans. Let's be real. But he's deserving. I think we got 2 guys this year that are definitely deserving. So yeah, I thought that. Yeah, I think it's great this year
with Scott. I mean, he's got good numbers. He's got really good numbers, right?
Very good.
But I think what put him over the top, it's got to be the defense.
Oh, 100%.
I think that's what put
Brooks
him
Robinson,
over the top.
the same thing.
Yeah, that's what put him over the top. Like Scott, really good offensive player, but I don't think he would if he wasn't as good of a defensive player as he was at third base. Just a vacuum at third, right?
100%.
And if he wasn't that level of a defender, I don't think he gets into the Hall of Fame. So I think that's what helped his case get over the hump. He's in the Hall of Fame. I think that's really is what we're going to remember Scott Rolen for, is the defense first, because that's how good he was, man. He was, a legit third baseman at the hot corner. I mean, nothing's getting by him. I mean, and like you mentioned, the metrics back it up, the Gold Gloves back it up, the accolades back it up. I think that's really what got him into the Hall of Fame.
You got any closing thoughts on Rolen?
I just think Rolen was a prototypical hard-nosed country ball player.
Yep.
Just competent. tremendous defensively, smart, hit for power, reliable, clutch, and he proved that with some of those postseason runs. Just an all-around great ball player. There's not much more to say about Scott Rolen. I think we summed it up. It's well deserved.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into our experience from Cooperstown from yesterday. Now, Pete, obviously you've been to Cooperstown how many times?
I don't know, 6, 7 times. I've been here a lot. I used to come, quite often when I was younger, but I usually just come for the Hall of Fame weekends. I don't really ever come up
just for the Hall of Fame.
So you've only been here when it's like the parade's going on, all and when it's crowded, everyone's here celebrating.
I've never been here in the
famous.
middle of March when it's cold. There's downtime. never been up here. Look, it's a nice little town. It's very quiet. It's not like the city life that we're accustomed to.
That's perfect for the Hall of Fame, I feel like.
I mean, this is where baseball, originated. So,
absolutely.
Cooperstown, New York, it's just a quiet place and a lot of ball fields. I mean, I wish we were breaking out the bats and the balls, shagging some fly balls right now.
I did bring my glove. I brought my infielders and my
There's still time. There's still time. We can go to the Rolen and McGriff induction, and we can, while we're out
there. Should we ask him to have a catch? Just say, hey, Scott.
You never know.
Take some grounders.
In my Kevin Costner impression. Hey, Scott, want to have a catch?
Oh, good.
As I'm kind of tearing up. As I was tearing up watching that video.
I think I'll call for
yesterday.
security, but I think what we need to do is ask somebody like Fergie Jenkins. Fergie Jenkins is a really nice guy, and you never know what Pete Rose might say because he likes to talk.
I don't want to know what Pete Rose.
He was here.
I don't care what Pete Rose.
He was here.
Yeah, we saw. I was 10 feet away from him yesterday. I turned my back. I said, "Pardon my back."
His white hat on.
Yeah, and that's
he looked good.
Pete, good. I'm glad you were looking at him that long enough to notice that. I peeked at him and I
like a wax doll. I think he was 82 years old now.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
Good for him.
He's getting up there. He's
like doing a betting podcast still, I think. But so seriously, so Pete, obviously you've been here a number of times. I know you love it. Nick, let's start with you though.
All right.
What was your overall experience at Cooperstown yesterday? Before we'll get to the parade because the parade I really enjoyed. And I didn't even expect that parade. That was fun. So I'm glad Pete made us watch that because
he was right. Yeah. He was Captain Pete.
We pushed dinner back to watch that. You know what I mean?
We almost missed dinner.
Oh man,
we almost missed dinner.
We were hungry for all of our meals yesterday, man. We got it for lunch at 1 o'clock and then 9 o'clock.
I was Daddy Pete yesterday. I was taking the boys around, taking you out to dinner, telling you got to watch the parade. What do you want to do?
In your Italian voice. I am not Innaurato and Fonz voice. All right,
Fonz voice.
Didn't know who he was till yesterday.
How did you not know who the Fonz?
Let's just talk.
You are
it's
so uncultured.
Listen, go ahead.
No, I'm done. I'm done. All right, you know what? I gotta say this before I get into my experience.
Yes.
The choices that Francisco has made. I'm looking into the camera. The choices Francisco has made to wear this weekend. The jersey choices have been just brutal.
I wore a Griffey jersey.
He wore a Griffey jersey and telling Phillies fans, go Phils. And they looked at him like he was crazy. They looked at you like you were crazy.
No, they didn't. No one looked at me like that was crazy.
They did a double take.
They said, he's a Griffey fan and he's also a Phillies fan under all of that. I get it. He's smart. Duh, it's Hall of Fame weekend. First time I'm here, I'm going to rep one of the best Hall of Famers of all time. Duh. I did take my Pedro jersey off today so I could rock the Scott Rolen. I'll be rolling in my Scott Rolen shirt today.
You had a Boston Red Sox jersey on before you put that on.
It was a 99 All-Star Game Pedro jersey. I'm going to rock it.
Great jersey. Great jersey. Not hating on it.
Overmodulate too much. Don't get me already hyped.
Not hating on it.
Okay.
I think I'm on your side, guys.
Oh, goodness. You're a Phillies fan. Of course, because you're rocking. That means I have balls. That means I can say, look at me. I'm a Phillies fan. I can still rock my Griffey jersey even though I'm a Phillies fan.
You're yelling "Go Phils" on a Mariners jersey.
It's whatever.
People were confused. You're confusing all the contingency.
Pat
They were all friends with me.
Pat Gillick was going by probably very, very confused at his age, going by you as you wear your Mariners jersey, yelling "Go Phils."
Over at us. Let's be honest.
Griffey didn't look at you. He looked the other way when he.
Griffey's too big time. Griffey's too big time. So
I just wanted to point that out that he was being a fraudulent Phillies fan.
Was not being fraudulent. I was doing my job.
We did interact with some Mets fans. They seem to know their season's down the tubes. That was pretty fun.
That was fun. And you know what? That's what I do. Like, we hate the Mets, obviously, but I respect Mets fans because they wear that pain and they know, how bad they've been for years, and they know how bad what the turmoil is like.
Right.
I respect it.
Right. I give it to Mets fans.
They're
down to earth when it comes to understanding complaining that their team is not doing too well.
Yeah,
but they're objectively, they're objective baseball fans. Mets fans, as much as we have quarrels with them and we're great rivals and all, they're
the little brother of the Yankees fans, man. They know how to. Yeah, they are. I agree with that.
All right.
So give me your just overall thoughts. 'Cause I do want to kind of discuss throughout the day. Right. I mean, I guess we could just start with we can just go through it and talk about the day as you kind of MC this here.
Well, it was great. So we got to go to a bunch of stores. I mean, if you're a baseball card collector, collectibles, anything
Absolutely.
like that, there's just store after store. And you mentioned it in the open, Francisco. You called it like St. Louis is considered baseball heaven. Fine. I don't know. I mean, if it was pretty close to baseball heaven when we got up here yesterday, going and seeing all the memorabilia, just everything baseball here. Like, it was just, I felt like I was 5 years old again, and like I found the game again. You know what I mean? It was like, it was awesome. We got to go into the Hall of Fame. That was fantastic. We saw a video. We cried. I
teared up.
I felt it in my throat. Like, it was coming. I didn't actually tear. I didn't have a tear. I didn't shed it, but I
kept looking over at you boys to see if the tears were going to start coming down out of those eyes.
Hall of Fame had like a nice video just about the history of the game, etc. All Hall of Famers talking. It was great. We also got to see all the busts, all the plaques from all the Hall of Famers. We got pictures with them. I mean that was awesome too. Seeing like Doc Halladay, Mike Schmidt, Griffey, Babe. I mean Cy Young. I mean I could go on and on about all the Hall of Famers, but the coolest thing for me, and I think we've talked about this, George the Moose, man. How about him? So what we did, I dropped my phone here. We found a George Earnshaw card. We found the Moose. I couldn't believe it. Pete, really, he spearheaded trying to find this card. Got to give him all the credit in the world. Found the Moose. Found George. He was also in the Hall of Fame on the 1929 A's when they won. They had like a whole setup with like jerseys. George Earnshaw donated a watch he got after the 29 World Series.
And what relation is George Earnshaw?
Great uncle. I think it's 3 greats. It might be 2. But it's one of the greats. But yeah, it was fantastic seeing that. It really hit home. You know what I mean? So seeing that you have some family blood in the Hall of Fame. I mean, for me, that was. I mean, it was awesome. It was a spectacle. Everyone, I think, should just come to the Hall of Fame at least once. It's a bucket list thing. I think for all
absolutely.
Yeah. I'm a little bit surprised, to be honest with you, how much of an impact George Earnshaw has had in Cooperstown. Considering he's got his watch in the Hall of Fame donated from the athletics championship team, and he's got some baseball cards out there. Seems to be well known by some of the old timers around here. So George Earnshaw put himself together a pretty good career, huh?
Yeah, nice career. I mean, he led the league in wins, won 2 back-to-back World Series. Did give up 3 home runs to the Babe in a game before, as we figured out. But yeah, I mean, it was cool to see all that history, all the stuff. Connie Mack, but yeah. I mean, that was really cool to see like your last name in the Hall of Fame. I mean, having some blood here, so that was really cool.
Francisco, what did you think about this Cooperstown trip as a whole?
I mean, it was. I didn't want the day to end. I literally didn't want the day to end.
You were so excited throughout the entire day. Like you didn't know what to do.
The only thing, and obviously we're going to do this again, and hopefully we can do this again every year, to be honest. But the only thing that I will say, because let me get the bad out of the way, and it's not even a bad because we're gonna do it eventually. We didn't get to see much of the exhibit. But I wanted to see the plaques though, and that they were closing at 4:30, and we wanted to see the parade. So I wanted to shop in more stores, so you couldn't do everything in one day. But the exhibit looked wild. As me and Pete were running around looking for a bathroom, looking for a San Diego chicken.
That's what I took a little stroll while you guys were in the bathroom.
Right.
There's a lot to check out.
Yeah, there's a lot to check out. So I don't know where did we start? We went to some shops first, and I mean cards everywhere. I was making sure I looked at trying to buy every card that I could that I really wanted. Bought some Giants Barry Bonds Prime cards. I ended the day getting a Cole Hamels prospect card that was graded. It was in the thing, in the
It was a 9, right?
It was a 9. Yeah, it was like $25.
BGS,
I was like,
Beckett.
Yeah.
Beckett
I
graded,
was I had to get that. I felt like, it was cool, like interacting with all the people that were at the shops too. There's that one old dude at the one place we were looking at all the older cards. He was really cool. It was nice to have a conversation with him.
Moose had a pretty good career.
Yeah, Mike Mussina, right?
Trying to educate us on the importance of investing in sports memorabilia.
By the way, who is the real? I want to know out there who is the real Moose? Is it Mike Mussina or is it George Earnshaw?
Who we saw yesterday?
The original Moose would be George Earnshaw.
He would be.
Yeah.
He would be the original.
We saw, and people were yelling Moose at Mike Mussina. He was like, "Yo, maybe he knows."
He knows George.
He said, don't call me that. I don't.
He saw me in my A's hat. I had my Philadelphia A's hat on, and he saw me. He wanted to, pay respects. I think. Yeah. Just saying. He wanted to pay his respect.
Right.
Like, all right, we got blood here. We have the blood here.
Yeah.
The real Moose.
Yeah.
The real one. So we went to the card shops. That was an absolutely awesome time. Just looking at all those cards, and again, I got I got a Griffey Reds. I got a couple of Bonds. Who else did I get? I got a couple of Pedros. Got everything that I could. I bought a couple of packs. I'm a big packs guy. I like the surprise.
Nothing beats ripping.
I was telling Pete that I wanted to get some mid 2000s Topps cards just because of nostalgia for me, nostalgia for you too. I know you're a little young, so you won't understand.
2010, 2011, 2012. That's like more my speed. Yeah.
Right, but so for us, for me, I wanted to find those. I did find a few 2004 Topps opening day packs. A little sticky in the cards because they've been around for so long.
They were. They were stuck together. Like you open that pack and like all the cards were stuck together. Like because how long they've been?
It's kind of dope though.
20 years. Like 20 years.
It's kind of dope. So I got some packs. I got a signed card by somebody. I don't even know who it was. But I got a signed card. Hopefully it was a prospect card. So hopefully it's gonna be something good someday. But so anyway, got the cards, and then I ended. That was it. I bought these Rolen shirts. One for me, one for Mama. She'll find out tomorrow. This episode will be out tomorrow, so she'll know before the episode's out. And then so after that, what did we do? We went to lunch. Got some really good pizza. I forget the name of the place. If I do remember,
Sal's Pizza.
Sal's Pizza. Thank you. This is what Pete's good for. To name pizza places.
Very good.
Yes, Sal's Pizza. Sal Fasano's Pizzeria.
Sal Fasano. So random.
That's the first
What goes
baseball
on up
name.
there?
That's the first baseball name that came to mind for Sal.
All weekend we've been trying to figure
Big
out
Sal
what goes on
Fasano
up there.
fan over here. Loved him when he was
Former
catcher
Philly,
for the
right?
Phils. And he was a fan.
Wait.
Here
So-
for a short time, but a fan favorite with the Phils.
So you're making fun of me for the Sal thing, but what other Sal names come to mind for baseball?
Off the top of my head. That's
what I'm saying.
I don't know. You put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Right,
did.
you're right. Yeah, I know. All right. So anyway, so we got some lunch, and before that,
Salvador Perez.
oh, you're right. I mean,
Yeah, but he's
Call him Sal.
Sal.
Some of
Perez.
his
I
buddies
guess
might
people
call
do
him Sal.
that. So yeah, then we saw people were signing autographs too. We saw I peeked over, saw Wade Boggs, saw Robin Yount. That was pretty cool.
You're missing a big part of yesterday, which was
We're gonna get through it.
You started yelling at me over Chase Utley.
No, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that after the experience. We'll talk
Trust
about
me, we'll get to
who
that.
we did talk
Yelling
about.
at the top of his lungs about how Chase Utley should be in the Hall of Fame.
And
And
look,
how-
I have rethought about it. Okay, I still think there's a case.
did I
for him.
educate you as to why he shouldn't be?
No.
Okay.
No.
We'll get
We'll
to
talk to it. We're going to talk about.
I might have to MC that just to break in.
Yeah, but I
to break
also
up.
want your opinion and thoughts.
Yeah, I got one.
But we're not going to just talk about Chase Utley and Jimmy Rollins,
No.
though, because I want to talk about general players that you guys. We'll look at the 2024 ballot. That could probably be a part of it too. So we were arguing a lot yesterday, and then what did we do after lunch? Did we?
We walked around.
Went to the
Stores.
shops and we watched the parade.
Shops and parade,
museum.
right. A museum. So
Yeah.
it was shops, more shops, museum, and the museum was awesome. Just being able to look at the plaques, dude, like. That was insane. It was just an unbelievable experience. If the gallery closed at 4:30,
Right.
We were in there probably 3:30, so we knew we had limited time. Maybe next year we'll be able to look a little more, but that was awesome. Being able to look at each player's plaques, Hank Aaron, Reggie Jackson, the Babe, as Phillies fans here, you guys can attest to this too, like Doc Halladay, Richie Ashburn,
Doc was cool to see.
Mick Carlton.
I was saying I really would love for some of those Phillies that I grew up with to make it into the Hall of Fame. But it was cool to see Doc,
One thing you guys didn't point out. How about before the plaques go on for McGriff and Rolen, they signed underneath.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was pretty cool. So they had already not a plaque, but something that the plaque will go on. Fred McGriff, Scott Rolen signed it. So that was what was up on where their plaques are going to go. So that was pretty cool. I thought that was a pretty cool.
Just that
little thing.
That entire room there where all the plaques were. I mean, as soon as you walk in, you just feel it. Like you really, it's legendary. Just the aura about that place. There's something different about that. There's something different.
There is truly. There is, and I, for being my first time as well, Francisco, Pete's the veteran here.
Right.
I feel like you probably can attest to this too. The first time you came, you walk in, it's you feel like you're whoa, there's a ton of history here.
Yeah,
not just baseball history, just American history, just in general. It was awesome.
When you're a big baseball fan, not to sound weird, but it is somewhat emotional to see some of these things because you grew up with these players. And they show you that video that when we first came into the Hall of Fame, they showed us a video in a little theater that was it was kind of a moving video, the music and then the videos that they put into that movie, the clips and all. So the whole experience put together is a great one for any diehard baseball fan. The plaques themselves, seeing those players, like I said, Doc Halladay was the one that really stuck out to me.
Yes,
I would love to see Jimmy Chase, Ryan Howard on those one day.
Great.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but I can understand why a lot of these people that come here every year when they, diehard Kansas City Royals fans see George Brett,
right?
They grew up with somebody like that who's playing an instrumental part in their childhood. It's just a moving experience because it brings you back to when you were young and brings a lot of memories back. So, the Hall of Fame consists of all that. So that's the good part about it.
And that's what the video definitely spoke to me about was the Cal Ripken at the beginning of the video, him hitting that home run. Did he hit a home run in the game that he broke the record? Did he even do that?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what they were
showing, Yeah,
and I just, I grew up, Pete, we grew up, and Nick, you've grown up in a good era of baseball too, but, I feel like, we talked about this yesterday, I feel like we grew up in the true golden era of baseball, whatever you want to say about the steroids. Right. I don't, yes, but who cares? It was literally quite possibly the best era of baseball.
It was a very entertaining era.
Incredibly, exactly, entertaining is the word. The most entertaining era of baseball ever. You had McGuire, Sosa, Ripken, Randy Johnson, the Red Sox breaking the curse. My gosh, I remember that. 2004.
You just had
the Yankees dynasty.
Even if the players weren't superstars, you had a lot of great, very good players like Miguel Tejada.
That's what I mean.
For example,
the drop off wasn't there during that era.
Remember the shortstop era? Nomar, Jeter,
Nomar. Edgar Renteria was a cool player.
Edgar Martinez. Edgar
Martinez was a great player. Yeah. So, that whole era of baseball when we were growing up, early 2000s, was a lot of fun to watch. And those Yankee-Red Sox rivalries, when I saw Big Papi hit that walk-off homer in Game 4 of 2004.
Yep. That was the start of it.
Yeah, so when I saw that video in Cooperstown, that brought back a lot of memories because I remember, sitting on my couch watching that with my father. And, it brings you back 20 years to a point in your life when, you see that and just brings back a lot of memories.
20 years, holy crap.
Makes you somewhat emotional, so...
Yeah.
I will say this though. While it was a great video, it was emotional. Little Philly hate in there. Little Philly hate.
Because the Astros
showing
thing?
the Astros.
If we're being real, of course they're going to show that.
They show the World Series winner every year.
They do. But there was a couple other instances. Oh, the Joe Carter. That was a punch in the gut a little bit.
Yeah, but to be fair, that's one of the biggest sports moments ever.
Why did the Phillies have to put themselves in that situation?
I know.
Why did Miss Williams have to?
So it wasn't just crying because we were emotional. It was crying because there was a
little bit of pain behind a couple of
Right,
those instances.
Right, there was real pain. There was real pain. Not just tears.
I
of,
haven't seen Kyle
nostalgia.
Tucker catch that pop up since it happened. I haven't gone back to watch.
Oh, I never watched the ninth
So
inning.
to see that again, it was like I was a gut punch.
I watched it on my game day at Bat app. I couldn't stomach it.
So I had to throw that in there too. Just a little bit of a gut punch a couple of times too in that video.
Yeah, it definitely was. Yeah, I agree. It was, but the video was great.
It was great.
Again, the plaques were just really cool. I would say this. I don't know about you guys. I got to see most of the plaques that I wanted to see
I saw every single one. I went to every single one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay.
I went to every single one.
All right. Well, yeah.
Yep.
Well, okay. So next year I'll have to make sure because I like to read the I guess what is the biographies that are under it too.
Yep.
So I like that. So the plaques were really cool. And then we went to the shop and I bought this shirt. I bought something for my mother. Nick, I know you brought something for like all your family.
Yeah, I got a couple of things. I didn't get much for me yesterday. Maybe I'll get stuff following today.
Yeah.
For me in general. But
Yeah,
I was happy with the George Earnshaw car, man. That
I mean,
meant a lot.
that made your day.
That
seeing
meant
the
a
watch
lot.
too.
Yeah.
Seeing the watch, man.
So that was cool. I didn't need anything else, to be honest. It was listen, it was a great day. Pete spearheaded this whole thing, getting us up here. It was great, man.
Yeah.
So it was a great idea.
And so we ended the day. We saw the parade. That was really cool.
Yep.
All the Hall of Famers. MC'd by Brian Kenny, the great BK from MLB Network.
He had like the Men in Black shades on.
Yeah, I mean, it's power to him. It looked like he was like security for the president.
Yeah.
We got to get into this Jay Sutley, Jimmy Rollins.
Not yet.
He's
We're
waiting.
not there yet. I want to finish the day. This guy, he's out for blood.
Then we went to dinner.
I might have to sit in the middle. I mean, we might have to switch seats, Pete, because I don't know if you guys should be next to each other during this
ready to
debate.
go.
My goodness.
So the parade was really cool. We got to see all the players ride through in their behind the trucks or whatever. They were sitting on the beds of the trucks that were being driven, and that was pretty cool. Saw Griffey, saw Jeter. Jeter was there. Saw Larry Walker. A lot of Hall of Famers from the past. Past inductees. So I thought that was really cool. Yeah. That was a good time. That was worth it. And then we went to dinner. We went to Upstate Bar and Grill. Next to us, while we were getting drinks, there first, there was, I believe, Lee Smith in there.
Lee Smith was it? I think it was Lee
There was
Smith.
Trevor Hoffman. We couldn't go in there.
Fergie
obviously.
Jenkins.
Fergie Jenkins. That's a pretty
Jenkins was in there.
solid pitching trio.
Yeah.
How about that? The relief pitchers hanging out.
Yeah, I guess that's what they do. Good for them. I guess
Sticking
they're all
together.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any of those
Fergie
players.
Jenkins was a starter.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't really know too much about Fergie Jenkins besides
Great pitcher.
Cardinals and Cubs.
Phillies originally. Phillies. Phillies.
That's
Right. He did play with the Phillies.
Yeah.
That's right.
I don't know. So yeah, we went to dinner there.
1966.
You're going
Way back.
Crap.
Way back.
Holy crap! Wow. And then Pete knows his old head
You
baseball.
do. Pete's very knowledgeable about his old time baseball.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, so let's talk about Hall of Famers. That
like a divider between you two.
we're just gonna talk here. I want to have a conversation. I know Pete's gonna try to get me riled up here, but Hall of Famers that should. I guess you guys want to talk about like guys that should be in the Hall of Fame, debatable guys. Like, I don't think J-Roll should be in the Hall of Fame. Let's get the Phillies out of the way. I don't want to talk about it too much because this is not a Phillies show. But I know for Phillies fans, and part of me and Nick's following here, you might know us from WIP, in Philadelphia. So there are probably a decent amount of Phillies fans that that listen and are watching on YouTube, and we very much appreciate you. So we're not going to talk too much about the Phils, but the guys that are going to be, and J-Roll has been on the ballot since last year. I don't think J-Roll's a Hall of Famer. I'm just going to say straight up, I don't. I know there's a good amount of people out there that do think he is. I think it's one of those cases where it's an emotional thing, that it feels like there's a player from every team, from every era, where it's like, oh, like the fans try to make a case for a guy, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. But I think if J-Roll played for like the freaking Rockies, we would all say, no, he's not a Hall of Famer. I think because he was a Philadelphia Philly and he had some great career moments, he had some great seasons, but I don't think overall he is a Hall of Famer. I thought he had the 2020 season, incredible. That was like the first time that was ever done, or like the first time in a long time. Incredible season. He deserved that MVP.
Yeah.
He deserved that MVP, but MVP doesn't equal Hall of Fame. I think he had a long career, and I think he had a very good, he had longevity. Don't think that equals Hall of Fame. I think he was Hall of Very Good defensive player. That all equals to me Hall of Very Good. So J-Roll, and he was a catalyst for those teams for that run. And I give him that. I love J-Roll was my favorite player growing up on the Phillies.
What about Chase Utley?
No, but I want to hear your take on J-Roll.
Yeah,
because you think he's not, and I respect your opinion.
Jimmy Rollins was an excellent player.
Was.
With nearly 2,500 hits. He has racked up the accolades with that MVP season in 07, which was phenomenal. Longevity, reliable at shortstop, fast.
Stolen bases.
Stolen bases.
470 stolen bases, I believe.
Yeah, he's up there in stolen bases.
Yeah, you're right. Stolen bases, yep.
Consistently put together some really good seasons. I think he only hit 260, 264, something like that for his career. Mm-hmm. But he's an edgy. He's an edgy player. I don't know if he'll end up getting over the fence into the Hall of Fame. But if he was put in, I'd be ecstatic. But I could understand if he wasn't. So I'm not Team Jimmy Rollins into the Hall of Fame objectively.
So you're like borderline with.
I'm borderline with Jimmy Rollins. He could be a Veterans Committee type of.
And he's definitely gonna be. By the way, he's definitely gonna be a Wall of Famer for sure.
Oh yeah, but
100%.
That whole era.
Is he in the Wall of Fame yet?
No,
but
no,
you're right. Like you said, they will all be in the Wall of Fame.
But he could be one of those Veterans Committee's Hall of Fame players that you find that gets in 20 years from now, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, if he does, look, Harold Baines got in the Hall of Fame, okay? And no disrespect to Harold Baines. I thought Harold Baines was a good player, but he wasn't. He had a long career, too. Harold Baines had a long career, but I think Brian Kenny mentioned yesterday, he led the league in slugging percentage like one time, I think. He didn't do much, had a good, consistent career, but did not equal Hall of Fame. I'll tell you that right now. Harold Baines played for a lot of teams, White Sox, Orioles, did not equal Hall of Fame. And that's kind of how I feel about J-Roll. I just think there were accolades in there, but I don't think that accolades automatically equal Hall of Fame. I think they're a part of it. I just think that J-Roll, if you look at his his OPS for his career, which I value, me personally, I value OPS very much. He didn't have he had a below league average OPS for his career.
So let's run this down real quick, just the accolades part. So he's a 3-time All-Star. He won an NL MVP, 4-time Gold Glove Award winner, Silver Slugger winner, led the league in stolen bases 1 year, and that was 2001. So he's got almost 2,500 hits, finished with 24.55, 264 average, hit 230 homers,
just under 1,000. Just under 1,000.
So he had a nice career. Again, I think he's a borderline, maybe gets in on a Veterans Committee type deal.
The way people are talking about him, again, this is taking my opinion out of it. I heard BK and that clip I shared on Twitter the other day, where it's Brian Kenny, Jason Stark, and JP Morosi. They all think Jamie Rollins should get in. And good, I respect their opinion. I don't think they should, but maybe a lot of the writers are thinking that way.
Plus, he's on the panel a lot with MLB
That's
Network.
That's true.
Maybe
TBS. He has a good. And let's be honest.
Great
we
personality.
got to be honest. Like all of even our sports opinions. Let's be real. Unconsciously, or is it subconsciously, unconsciously? That's an unconsciously. Subconsciously. Subconsciously.
You all right over there?
So yeah, right. I'm like out of the picture right now on the camera. Subconsciously, personality plays into our opinions. Let's be real. Like us liking Jimmy Rollins, like no one dislikes Jimmy Rollins. Maybe Mets fans don't like Jimmy Rollins, but that plays into our opinions. So, you know what I mean? Frank Thomas. Frank Thomas. slam dunk Hall of
Yeah,
Fame.
right.
It's a bad example, but
Well, there's a debate with David Ortiz being so liked by the media and having some steroid allegations surrounding
that's
him. And then
part
you
of
see
it,
guys like
right.
Manny Ramirez, I know Sosa, McGuire, and Bonds are,
all disliked.
That's part of it.
that's really hovering their whole entire
Right.
career. But there are a lot of players that were great. Gary Sheffield, with these steroid things surrounding them, like Big Poppy. I guess he just kind of scooted around it because there's no reason when it comes to the guys like Ramirez, Sheffield. So obviously they are Hall of Fame players, but the only thing keeping them back is the steroid thing. So there's no debating about their talent. But Big Poppy for some reason scooted around that. I don't know how.
And I have to add, it's a big part of getting in. Like, if you're not liked by the media, if you're not liked by the writers, they're not going to vote you in. They're
Bonds
not
was
gonna
David
vote you in.
Ortiz, he would have got in.
Yeah, so I
personality,
think
I
that
guess.
plays a role. So I think Jimmy's very well liked. He's kind of part of the media. He goes on TBS. He's gone on these shows, ESPN, whatever. He's done stuff in the playoffs before throughout his retirement, and even during his career, I think he did some media stuff too when the Phillies were out of it for a little bit. So he's been around the game of that. Of the writers, of the media for a little while now, and I think that's going to play a role with. And listen, he's got accolades, he's got really good numbers. I think he's a borderline Hall of Famer too. I think he could get in. And the way Jason Stark was talking about him, really respected writer. I think Jimmy Rollins has a very strong case. I think it's a stronger case than Chase Utley. I do. I think it's a stronger case than Chase Utley.
100%.
I disagree.
Just based upon where the writers are at with his numbers, the accolades, and him being really well liked and a part of that world in the media. I think that helps his case. I really do, and I think it's part of it.
And using the eye test as a Phillies fan who watched him every day, he was a great player.
Oh, he was.
I just don't.
All the Gold Gloves.
I mean, look. Baseball Hall of Fame, they want to see what's on your plaque. They want to see stats. They want to see accolades. As much as we can debate back and forth, that's what it is. Like they want that. They want that resume to show up on his. If I look at Jimmy Rollins' resume, I see it just being just short. And if it is just short, that doesn't mean it won't get over the top. Eventually, on the Veterans Committee, I just don't know if he's going to get in on this ballot. Would he get 12%?
Yeah, he's not getting on this ballot.
No.
Yeah,
no.
shot.
So I'm saying even
Definitely.
down the line, years from now, I don't know if he
too.
can build this 12% up to that 76 or whatever it is. So. He's a little far off, but who knows? Maybe he could. I don't know. I don't see it.
So I want to piggyback off what you said about the accolades and stuff like that, and then I kind of want to go back to the PEDs, and I kind of want to give you guys my view on how I see some of the guys that juiced when it was illegal, because I do think that plays a part. Like A-Rod literally got caught twice, I think. I mean, so, but. Here's my thing, Pete, and we talked about this a lot yesterday. I hear what you're saying, that people look at accolades. I'm not saying that writers don't, but there are a lot of the newer writers nowadays that don't value that as much nowadays, because there are a lot of players. Tim Raines got in because of the advanced metrics and some of these newer numbers. He didn't get in because of his accolades. He got in because there was a whole brigade of people that were pushing for him the Hall of Fame, because they said, hey, he was undervalued. If you look at his stolen base success rate mixed with how many stolen bases he had, combined with his wins above replacement, how good of a leadoff hitter he was, all of that, and how consistent player he was over time, his value was helped by the metrics. I'm not saying there wasn't anything with the accolades. I'm just saying that they started to kind of value that a little less and say, hey, look at this other stuff. He was actually a pretty good player according to these metrics. And hey, maybe 50 years from now, we'll have even newer metrics that say, hey, like these metrics actually weren't even right.
Yeah, but you can't just go by the metric.
I'm not saying they're all the metrics. I'm saying they play a part, though, nowadays. They do.
I have to disagree. Tim Raines hit almost 300. He had over 2,600 hits. The guy literally put together, I'm going to bring up his stats right now. He's a 7-time All-Star, Silver Slugger winner, 4-time NL stolen base leader. These statistics that he's putting together, and that doesn't have anything. He literally has statistics to back him up into the Hall of Fame. Tim Raines. It's not like he didn't have that. Like Chase Utley, for example, doesn't have this kind of like resume to show. And if that's the point you're trying to make as to why Chase Utley should get into the Hall of Fame,
but I'm telling you right now, I want to hear in the comments. Please comment. Let us know all on Twitter. I will have all our handles. Tim Raines got in, there was a push at the end of the ballot, at the end of his like 8th, 9th, 10th year, because there wasn't a strong backing for him. There was not. A lot of it was like Jay Jaffe. All of these guys were saying, man, Tim Raines should be in the Hall of Fame. And there weren't a lot of people saying, oh, 300, 2,600 hits, that's not enough. There was like, oh, wait, but he was actually a better player than we thought. Look at these numbers. So, and it was like that for Larry Walker, too.
And where did longevity come into play? Tim Raines played for 20 plus years.
Yeah, he did.
So I mean that too is impressive.
Factors in.
Right, I agree.
That he was able to stick it around in the league.
I think every player has a different case based on their career. Obviously, based on their career.
I just have to say I don't agree with Tim Raines getting in based off of metrics because he put together a very good career with some really good
helped.
stats.
Okay, so
they helped.
So you would vote for Tim Raines based off of those numbers
through the way that he got in, yes.
Right, but not everyone was thinking that way. There was a big contingency of why he got through because people were looking at those the newer metrics. Telling you,
I'm not saying nowadays they're not going to use they're not going to put away all the old stats and all the old accolades that helped players get in before. I'm saying they do help. The new metrics do help, but I don't think that should be the be all that,
I agree.
that why they should get in. I think all right, we can look at
everything's flawed too. Everything's flawed,
and the system's a little flawed because everyone has
100%.
It's ridiculous.
I want to talk about this after we got to talk about the state of the
It's kind of ridiculous because. I mean, I think Jimmy has better numbers. He's got more hits than Chase Utley. I think Jimmy has more of a case than Chase Utley. I think both can get in at some point, but I think the advanced metrics would help Chase Utley. I think Jimmy Rollins he's a lot of really good accolades.
He'll have the people
all around really good stuff. Like he was a great hitter, has the stolen bases, has the defense. I think that helps him more have more of a case than Chase. But I think Chase can get in on those metrics that you were mentioning. I think that'll help his case because his numbers aren't all the way there with Jimmy Rollins.
We literally could be here all day talking about this stuff. So we're going to end the show talking about next year's ballot.
Yes.
Maybe just general thoughts of who you guys think's going to get in, who you would vote for, things like that. So last year, some of the ones that were close, you have your Todd Heltons, that was 72%. Billy Wagner was at 68. Andrew Jones, 58. I think Andrew Jones definitely has an interesting case, being potentially the best defensive center fielder of all time. Gary Sheffield at 55. That's I think Sheffield's off because that was his 10th year.
Yes.
So Sheffield's off.
He'd be vet committee now.
So
right?
he would be vet. I don't think, but that's another guy. I think.
So next year will be his 10th, right? So it'll be his final year.
Yeah,
it'll be his final year.
And Sheffield's not getting in.
Yeah.
I think unless there's like a big backing for him. I've not heard any rumblings of there being a big backing for him. He's not getting in. A-Rod 35 last year. Manny 33. Any of those names? Bobby Abreu 15. J-Roll 13. Mark Burley 10. K-Rod 11. Well, any names stand out to you guys there? What do we guys? Well, we'll get to the newcomers as well.
Yeah, I'll stick kind of with the Phillies. Bobby Abreu, man. I don't think he gets in next year, but I think he makes a little bit of a run. I think he makes more of an improvement. I think he's going to get on more ballots. I think he is so underrated, man. He is beyond underrated. The stolen bases, what was he? 400, right? 400 stolen bases in his career. Really, really good hitter. I think 15.4%. I think he 1,300 RBIs. Like the numbers are there. I think he makes a run. I think he gets over 30% next year. That'll be my prediction. I think Abreu is going to make more of a jump. What will it be? It's his 5th year on the ballot. I think he makes more of a jump next year. That's my prediction with Abreu because I feel like he's been so underrated. I think finally people are going to start to see and add them to his ballot. To their ballot.
I'd love to see Omar Vizquel take a step. The guy had almost 3,000 hits. He's an 11-time Gold Glover, one of the best defensive shortstops in baseball history. Just a smooth player. I know he didn't hit for that high of an average, around like 270, so that might hold him back. He's on the 7th year on the ballot at 20%. I'd like to see him gain some ground here. I just think he was a phenomenal player. It really angers me to see some of these players not get the respect that they deserve. And, just to tie this conversation back to David Ortiz getting in and all.
Right.
Manny Ramirez, I look at these names, Manny Ramirez, Alex Rodriguez, Gary Sheffield, Lord have mercy. Like these are just
household names.
Household names. These are generational players that, are not getting the credit they deserve, in my opinion. Of course, they were part of that steroid era. But there can't be a double standard.
I know. The only problem, this is my thing, and you guys, I want to hear.
There's a dark cloud over the Hall of Fame right now when it comes to this.
100%.
You cannot let certain people in and then deny others.
Say others can't. It's ridiculous.
So I want to, and I would love to know. I want to hear your guys' thought process on my opinion here. I think guys like Manny, A-Rod, guys that cheated multiple times and got when it was illegal, I don't think they deserve to get in. I think they did it. I think Manny did it 3 times and then he retired. A-Rod did it twice. I mean, A-Rod's an all-timer, obviously, but like, I don't know. There's something that doesn't sit right with me with that. Like, A-Rod juiced with the Rangers, and when it wasn't illegal, and that's fine. I guess it's fine. And then he juiced twice. Right? Am I wrong? Twice with the Yankees, he got caught. Twice he got suspended.
I know he got
2007 and 2013.
He had the 211 game suspension that got knocked down to just 1 year, right? That was that. I think so. It was only the one.
I remember it was 07, 08, and then like 11, 12 or something like that. I could be wrong, but let me know.
They did steroids. It's that simple.
Right, but I just think like Manny, like these guys. They did it even after the fact. Like I don't know how I feel about that. I think that kind of holds you back a little bit. I think it's different from McGuire, Sosa, these guys that did it when it was literally not illegal technically. So like, how are you going to get mad at somebody for doing something that to help themselves when it wasn't like guys did amphetamines back then? Like, you can't tell me that didn't give you an edge of the plate. You're focused. Like you're more locked in. You got to be locked in when baseball. So I don't know, man. I just don't know how I generally like I guess like I emotionally I feel like Manny and A-Rod are Hall of Famers, but like logically just I think that it doesn't make sense. But I want to hear your guys' opinions on that.
I'll start.
It's a tough line.
For me, the Hall of Fame is what's supposed to be a culmination of the history of the game. It's supposed to record different eras of the game, different players of the game. It's for its history. It's for baseball's history. The steroid era is part of baseball's history. You have put them all in. Put them all in. I don't care. They put up all these numbers. You can't just say, "Oh, it doesn't count." It's in the record books already. Yeah. I don't care. They all should be in. Just put them in. Whether you think it was ethical or not, that's a whole different conversation. The Hall of Fame is supposed to be the history of the game, and you're putting all of these the best players from the best eras into the Hall of Fame for what they did on the field, right? They put up great numbers. Rodriguez, Manny, they did steroids. Okay, you want to talk about ethics? Fine. I mean, people have done stuff in sports throughout history. I'm okay with putting all of them in. Bonds, Sosa, put them all in. It is supposed to record the history of the game and its eras. And that's just where I'm at with it. I put them all in for me.
I agree with you to an extent, and I think that the Baseball Hall of Fame is not going to ever do it because they don't want kids to walk in there and go, oh, well, look, they took steroids and they're in the Hall of Fame.
That's a great point.
It's very centered around family and younger kids and all, and I don't think they want that message out there.
Well, that's why you can't cherry pick and put certain guys in that did steroids.
I agree with you. That's the problem I have is that you have certain players now coming from that era that controversial. So like if there's a report that comes out five years from now that says David Ortiz did this, there's an interview that's leaked. David Ortiz did this. You're gonna pull him out. You're gonna pull him out.
Exactly.
You have Todd Helton at 72%. Todd Helton seems like a great guy. You never know who's doing what. So the point I'm trying to make is that whole entire span, that 20-year span, whatever it was, 10, 15. Of players that went through that steroid era, you do not know who did it. Derek Jeter could have done it.
Part
at some
of the
point.
game's history,
right? 100%.
So if it's part of the game's history, are you just going to knock out all these players because you can't prove? There's a dark cloud over baseball for that era.
100%.
And there's nothing you can really do about it at this point. So what are you going to do? You're going to select some people and not select others?
That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
Really piss some people off.
I'll tell you. I heard rumblings that Ricky Henderson used steroids at some point.
Yeah. So
heard that. I mean, I've heard Jeff Bagwell. I've heard Pudge. I mean, Ivan Rodriguez, who I admired so much.
The list goes on and on.
Yeah. I mean, there's guys. So like you said, I mean, there's just something. I'm just telling you emotionally. emotionally. Maybe this is me being emotional. There's just something that doesn't sit right with me voting for somebody that got caught like multiple times when it was illegal. Like I don't. There's something that I can't. I don't know. Maybe there's no logical sense to that. I'm just telling you when made
It's an ethical thing. It's an ethical thing.
Three
That's
times.
what it is. It's an ethical thing.
Right. I mean, how much?
But you can't
ethics
change their
play into it?
numbers. You know what I mean? You can't change what happened.
Yeah.
It's part of the history. They put up these numbers, and it just is what it is. They did what they did.
Right.
I just think it's part of the history of the game. Whether it's a good history or a bad history, it's part of it.
Well, that's
the
that.
culmination.
But the one player that should get in next year, and there's no doubt about it, is Todd Helton.
Yes. I agree.
I think he's got a case. I mean, I think that like you're seeing
The guy was phenomenal.
So let's introduce some of the new names, right? No, I don't disagree with you. I'm talking about the ballot though. So Beltre's probably going to get in. I mean, almost 500 homers. I mean, 10 Gold Gloves. I mean,
3,000 hits. Yeah,
metrics back him up on everything. Yeah, I mean, 100%. He's going to be a Hall. I mean, he should be in next year. Mauer's going to get some votes. I think Utley's going to get some votes. He'll stay on the ballot. David Wright. I mean, he might get some votes. I don't know. But my whole thing is that. There's a new ballot, obviously. There's a new ballot every year. And, with certain guys getting votes, how much does that take away from other certain guys?
Right.
I don't know. Todd Helton, to me, isn't slam dunk. Like, to me, he's got a good case. If he gets in, like, okay. Like, to me, he's like a Scott Rolen, deserving, but not slam dunk. So...
he had 316 with over 2,500 hits and is a phenomenal defensive first baseman in a town in Colorado, which is so it's overshadowed by everything else.
But cool with Coors. Yeah, it's the only thing I think that hurts his case is that he hit at Coors. I'm not saying it takes away from me because I mean, like, if you look at like his numbers.
He can't pick where he plays. I mean, what do you want?
Right, for sure.
I mean,
for sure. What I'm saying
Todd
is
Helton is a Hall of Famer, and the fact that he's only a couple of percentage points off at this point, sixth year on the ballot, I think
shows
he gets over. He gets in.
Okay, I mean, we'll see. I think Beltre, Mauer, Utley, some of these newer guys being on the ballot, I think that could take away votes from him. But I think he might just get in. But I think the part that does help Helton at least that takes away, or not takes away, but that if you look at the whole Coors thing, you have stats that like ERA plus and OPS plus, which it magnifies it to the league average statistics. So it takes in park factors, it takes in errors. So even though Todd Helton hit at Coors Field, like his numbers in general were still like really good, even if he were to hit somewhere else. Yeah. And that's just hypothetical, right?
Right.
But I like those statistics because it helps you look at it kind of from a more unbiased standpoint. So no, I think those numbers back him up, and I think Helton is a Hall of Famer. I still think he's borderline, but I would put him in. So what about Billy Wagner's an interesting one.
He is.
He's because Wagner was dominant reliever.
Ninth year on the ballot.
Yeah, 9th year on the ballot. He was at 68% last year. I think he's somebody that just misses again.
Yeah, I think he goes into what Todd Helton was this past year, like around 72. Like he'll gain some ground, like 70, 72, but he's not going to get in this year. I just don't see it.
And I think there's a strong backing for Andrew Jones, man. Andrew Jones, I guess is really how you say it. Yeah, go ahead, P.
Billy Wagner should get into the Hall of Fame. You have other relievers in there that I think he was just as good as. I mean, we saw Lee Smith last night. I think Billy Wagner was just as electric for his time, hitting 100 on the gun. Yeah. Very, profound closer for that stretch of time.
Over 400 saves.
Yeah, so Billy Wagner's in for me. Andrew Jones is unbelievably talented defensively. Mm-hmm. I couldn't vote against him either. There are some names. This is going to be a great ballot. You have the mixture of the steroid,
fun for us.
The steroid era guys, and then you have a mixture of some other players that have played before then. And to me, let me see on the bottom of the ballot. I don't even know how some of these guys get on. Phil Hughes, why is Ryan Matson on the Hall of Fame?
Chase Headley, Giovanni Gallardo,
Brad Ziegler. Chase Headley.
I don't remember Brad Ziegler.
Brandon Phillips. How did these guys make the Hall of Fame ballot? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know how that works. I guess certain guys just go on.
I mean, Brandon Phillips was at 2,000 hits, but look at the guys at the bottom here: Santiago Casilla, Jim Johnson, Chris Tillman, Brandon Morrow, Phil Hughes, Ryan Matson, Brad Ziegler, Doug Fister, Giovanni Gallardo. If anybody votes these people into the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry. I just don't understand it. But anyways, the top of the ballot, I'm going to go with Helton, Wagner, and, it's a shame Manny and A-Rod, and they're not going to get in. But I'm going to go with Todd Helton and Wagner and Adrian Beltre.
Okay. Yeah.
I like it. I think I agree with you. I'm just not putting Wagner in. I don't think Wagner gets in. I think it's going to be Helton. I think we're going to see it at Helton.
Who would you vote for?
Who would I vote for?
Yeah.
Well, you can vote for 10, right? Isn't it 10 players?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to go through that. But
I'd vote for Todd Helton for sure. I'd vote for Wagner, Jones. I'd vote for Abreu, Manny, A-Rod. I mean, these are the guys I would definitely put on my ballot for sure.
Andy Pettit's still there.
Pettit's still there.
Pettit's never getting in.
Probably Jimmy. Probably give Jimmy a vote too. I think Jimmy should get in. I don't know Utley first ballot. I can't put
Joe
Utley.
Mauer's an interesting case.
He's a similar case to, I feel like, Chase Utley, because their peaks were
really
like
good.
very both 5-ish years. Mauer had more injuries than Chase.
I remember he was a catcher.
Mauer hit over 300. He's got over 2,000 hits.
Had an MVP.
And was an MVP. Awesome catcher.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
different position. So he's got a case. I don't think he gets in first ballot at all. No. I think down the line he's got a really good shot.
Yeah, I think he eventually gets in.
Yeah, he was the best catcher of that time. So.
100%.
For sure.
He won MVP that year. 09 MVP.
Yep.
Look at that. All right, yeah, Joe Mauer was just a monster for his time. Him and Justin Morneau spearheading the top of... There goes my phone. Oh, it's right there.
You saved yours. I didn't save mine earlier.
Yeah, I
totally
fell. I care for...
Quicker reflexes,
yes.
I guess.
Yes. So that's going to do it.
Oh, my
I think that's
goodness.
going to do it. What a show. Pete Innaurato, we are very
Pete
grateful for you.
Boys,
Thank you for the trip, too.
So pleased to be here today.
Yes, we were pleased to hang out with you this weekend, man. It was an awesome weekend.
We had
honestly.
a nice weekend.
It's not
in
over though.
Cooperstown.
It's not over. We got stuff to do. We're gonna go see Rolen.
When this comes out, it'll be over.
Right. Well, we got to keep it.
Got to drop a couple dimes on the strip. Still got to buy a couple of things, some baseball cards.
Yeah, we still got
Empty
stuff
our
to do.
pockets.
Right, empty them up. I got stuff. I want to get a jersey. I don't know, but I don't want to just get any jersey just because I want one. Because jerseys are a lot of money.
They are.
So I was looking at some yesterday in the.
You're like a kid in the candy store yesterday. Don't sugarcoat.
Love candy.
Love candy.
You boys were having a great time.
And so were you.
Shopping around, yeah.
So were you.
It was fun.
Out there, baby. We were out there. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit your hand. So, yes, go Phils, right? Go Phils. As I wear my Rolen Cardinals John here. But I said John, so that's how you know it's Philly.
Oh, boy.
I'm not putting my Pedro jersey on today because it's Roland's getting inducted today. Let's wear the shirt. So, Pete, once again, thank you. Nick, we'll be back soon.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we'll try to get an episode to you guys out later in the week. As always, we got trade deadline shows soon.
Yes,
trade deadline soon.
God, that's right around the corner.
Hold on, real quick before we leave, Pete, and we'll end it on this. Where does Shohei Ohtani end up at the trade deadline?
Shohei?
Just give me one team. That's where he ends up. Does he stay or does he go or somewhere else?
I think
Gut feeling.
I think he's going, but Phillies.
Wow. What?
Wow. See, Andrew Painter, Mick, the whole farm system. Maybe Alec Boehm, too.
Yeah, I don't want to give up the farm for Ohtani.
Nah.
Where do you think he's going?
I think he stays. I don't think any.
You think he's going to stay?
So I either think he stays or not going to the Dodgers. I think they don't have interest, right? Technically, they came out. They don't have interest, or they don't have interest in trading him to the Dodgers. I think because it's across the. Right across
Why would he stay? They're going to try to get something for him.
Yeah, but I know that the owner doesn't want to be the guy that trades Shohei Ohtani. What's the owner's name?
All right.
Yeah, who
What do you think, Nick?
Maybe the Yankees because it's the Yankees' pride and they want to try to,
Steve Cohen.
But I think he stays.
Steve Cohen could always, try and make a splash to salvage his season
That's
or
just
his future.
stupid if they think they're going to frickin' buy
look at
the
them this year.
deadline.
So
we'll see in the next couple of days.
But I could see him staying too. The packages just could be too much for teams to give up.
And what's his contract like?
2-month rental. So
You don't think they're just going to keep him? Not going to try to get anything for him?
I mean, they're going to try.
I genuinely think the owner doesn't. I mean, this has come out. The owner doesn't want to be the guy that trades Shohei Ohtani.
He's just going to lose him.
Yeah.
That, or he's gonna.
He's not going to get anything for him. He's going to lose him. He's going to let
I
him
mean,
walk.
the Angels have done a lot of stupid stuff over the last decade. So I mean,
I can't.
let's be
I
real.
would be shocked if the stupidity of not trading somebody just to let him walk later. I mean, you could get yourself back a pristine package.
You could.
You got to trade.
I mean,
You
you're
got to
right.
get something.
I would trade Shohei Ohtani. I would.
That's the point. I mean, I understand.
Last year,
You want to have him for 2 months, and he'll play well, and he'll be a crowd favorite for 2 more months, or you get yourself a return that's incredible.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, it makes sense just to move him,
I
but
disagree.
yeah, I think we're all in agreement. You should probably
So
move him.
if I think he's going to be shipped.
It's the Angels.
I think he stays. I think he stays with LA. All
right, we'll see what happens.
All right, Pete. Once again, thank you, Nick. We'll be back soon. Thank you so much for listening, watching. Well, I'll have all the social media stuff in the description box below. Make sure if you're watching this, but you also want to listen to the podcast, we're on Apple, Spotify, everywhere. So that's gonna do it for us. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We're out of here.